Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and in just a moment, I'll be explaining why it's very likely Bitcoin is about to see a major breakout here. If Bitcoin can simply get above this importance level right here, then we'll be set up for some huge gains to the upside. Because right now, Bitcoin is also playing out a brand new fractal that I will be covering later in this video. And of course, I'll be mentioning the charts that has predicted all of the major market bottoms for Bitcoin in the past, and the fact that we've just seen this chart in action again. All of that and more later in this video. So definitely stick around all the way to the end of this video so that you're not missing out on any of this important information. And just before we jump into it, make sure to leave a like on the video down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. But with all of that out of the way, let's get straight to what this video is about. So right here, we're on the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the 4-hour time frame. And first of all, taking a look at these importance levels of resistance, we first have this horizontal green price range right here, which was previous support for Bitcoin, but is now acting as resistance. And by the way, that area on the chart just there was derived from the 38.2% Fibonacci level when you draw the Fibonacci retracement tool from the bottom of the September correction up to the all-time high. So that's our first major level of resistance that we need to get above. And of course, we also have this descending line of resistance. Since around the middle of October, this line of resistance has of course been providing resistance, but we also found support along this line for a brief period of time during the beginning of this month. And then the moment we broke back below this importance line right here, we continued to find a lot of resistance along this exact line just here. And right now, this descending line of resistance is coming in at around $58,500 US, and this range of resistance is coming in between $58,000 and $60,000 US. But something else to mention here is of course the VPVR indicator, which is the volume profile visible range. This indicator basically shows us how much volume was traded in a particular price range instead of a time period like the regular volume indicator. And basically all you need to know is the big clusters of volume like this, if they're above the Bitcoin price, they are acting as resistance, but if they're below the Bitcoin price, they would be acting as support. So clearly the biggest cluster of volume here in the shorter term is above the Bitcoin price, and that is starting at around 60,500 up towards around 61,000. And then after we start getting above around 61,000, 62,000, that's when this volume cluster in the VPVR indicator drastically drops off, which means we have less and less resistance to the upside after we can finally break above this huge hurdle in the immediate short term. So really between where we are right now all the way up towards around 61,000, Bitcoin has a lot of resistance in the immediate short term right here. So technically speaking, it does still remain a possibility. We could see another rejection, but with that being said, we do have some other bullish signs starting to show for Bitcoin. For example, bringing out the price oscillators here on the 4-hour time frame. Of course, the RSI here for basically the last 2 weeks has been trending to the upside on the 4-hour chart, even though the price action has been trending to the downside. So that is a huge divergence between the price action and the RSI. And this particular type of divergence is more of a bullish divergence, because when you're looking at the lower lows in the price action and the higher lows in the RSI, they are of course regular bullish divergences. But when you're looking at the lower highs in the price and the higher highs in the RSI, they are a form of bearish divergence, but they are what's known as a hidden bearish divergence, which is not as strong as a regular bearish divergence, which means the regular bullish divergences are stronger than the hidden bearish divergences, which is why this particular type of divergence between the price action and the RSI is leaning more bullish than bearish. And so really, for as long as the RSI is trending to the upside here, it's only a matter of time before the Bitcoin price starts trending to the upside as well. And that is not the only bullish sign for Bitcoin moving forward. Just zooming out to the daily time frame for Bitcoin, this is the same chart showing that green box of support right there. But what we have here as well is the 120-day simple moving average coming in at around $53,000 US approximately, which is just about where we bottomed out for this correction, at least so far. And keep in mind, Bitcoin bottomed out at this exact moving average back in the last correction back in September, after seeing very similar things playing out both corrections here. So the fact that Bitcoin has come back down towards this exact moving average and now has seen a bounce along that moving average, of course, that alone is a bullish sign. Also looking in the daily MACD, we are very close to a bullish cross in the daily MACD, but we haven't seen it just yet. I want to make that clear. But if Bitcoin can continue to hold at around these same sort of levels, or even see a breakout to the upside, then that would move forward this daily cross a lot sooner. And just judging from the current trajectory of the histogram and the MACD right here, we are possibly around 1 to 2 days away from the bullish cross in the daily MACD. And keep in mind, the last proper bullish cross that we saw in the daily MACD was the very beginning of October, just as the last correction was bottoming out and getting ready for the next major move to the upside. And that is not all. Simply seeing the RSI come all the way down to these lower levels just here on the daily time frame, down to the same sort of levels in the RSI that we've previously reached these major market bottoms. So what that actually means is technically we now have more room to the upside than we do have room to the downside. And talking about the strong similarities between this correction and the September correction, we potentially have this fractal fractal playing out right now for Bitcoin. By the way, this is zoomed back into the 4-hour time frame, and this green fractal just here was taken from the bottom of the September correction. As you can see, I've basically copied that price action right there and overlaid it to the current price action. And by the way, this is nothing new for the subscribers out there. I've been comparing this correction to the September correction for over 2 weeks now on the channel. So I've been constantly preparing you for a scenario like this that is playing out right now. And what we could see in this fractal is possibly we could be due for one more little dip to the downside before then we blast off to the upside. But keep in mind, just because that happened last time, that is not guaranteed to happen this time. The main signal, the main indicator, if you want to call it that, to pay attention to know that we're finally beginning the next major move to the upside, that is simply by paying attention to the highs in the price action. As you can see, so far in the 4-hour chart, we have still been making lower highs, but the moment we start putting in a brand new higher high on the chart, that is really the first major sign that we have hit the bottom and we are beginning the next major move to the upside. So technically it is a possibility we could start that a lot sooner than expected, but if we are to continue this correction very similar to the September correction, once again we could have one more little dip to the downside before then we start breaking into new higher highs. But obviously if Bitcoin just immediately breaks into a new higher high right here, then that next potential dip to the downside is basically off the table at that point. And just zooming back out to the daily time frame again to give you another quick update on this chart right here. I've been talking about this major trend line just here, this major line of supports for around half a week now. And obviously this is very simple technical analysis, but sometimes simple technical analysis can be very valuable because you don't need to overcomplicate things if they don't need to be. Because you can see here, all I did was draw this line of supports between these two lows. I'm talking about the low that we formed back in July and the low that we formed back at the end of September. And just by connecting those two lows on the logarithmic chart, that basically predicted the low for this correction, at least so far. And of course, that was coming in at around 53,500 US dollars, close to 54K when we were bouncing from that level. And so if anyone was watching my videos just a few days ago and took advantage of that buying opportunity, already you'll be in profits. And this upwards trending line of supports that Bitcoin continues to hold above on the daily chart is just another reason on the Bitcoin chart right now that shows us that we are currently in a very strong daily uptrend. And now jumping into this Bitcoin chart. So far, this chart has basically predicted every major market bottom for Bitcoin. For example, this chart flashed a huge buy signal back during March and April 2020. And obviously that was an incredible buying opportunity. We saw the exact same thing flash in between May and July this year. Obviously that was an incredible buying opportunity, and also at the end of September. So you don't need me to explain how accurate this chart has been so far. And you can see here, just a few days ago, we actually had one single day where this chart flashed the same signal that we've seen all of these previous major market bottoms. The subscribers on this channel that have been watching for around a week now would already know what this chart is. But for any new viewers on the channel, this Bitcoin chart right here is basically the crypto fear and greed index visualized on the Bitcoin chart. So these green zones right here are the times where the Bitcoin fear and greed index was sitting in extreme fear. And so when the Bitcoin fear and greed index is sitting in extreme fear, that doesn't necessarily mean that we are at the bottom, because for example, we've had time periods where we've stayed in extreme fear for even up to a couple months. But what it does tell us is that we're seeing an amazing buying opportunity anytime we're seeing extreme fear on the Bitcoin fear and greed index. And right now, this index is still showing a fear reading, which is obviously not as good of a buying opportunity as extreme fear, but technically anywhere in the fear zone, that is more bullish than bearish. And then as we enter further into greed and extreme greed, that is when this indicator is suggesting that we could be due for some more bearish price action. And so once again, this is yet another reason why I'm so bullish on Bitcoin moving forward over the next few weeks and months. And of course, this adds on top of all of those other bullish signals that I talked about earlier in the video. And on top of all of that, looking in the Bitcoin funding rates across all of these exchanges, right now, they are relatively neutral. A lot of these funding rates are very neutral, but we still have a couple negative funding rates right now for Bitcoin, which are more bullish than bearish. And so basically, with these funding rates having a full reset back to neutral compared to where they were a few weeks ago when we were at the all-time highs, this basically means that Bitcoin has a lot of room to the upside and somewhat limited room to the downside. And if any of you want to acquire the tools needed to make a lot of money in the crypto markets, the first link in the description down below will take you to this page just here, where you'll find a cryptocurrency technical analysis course. In that trading course, I seriously cover everything from understanding support and resistance, how to trade support and resistance, how to spot different trends in the market, how to find and confirm chart patterns, and how to trade chart patterns with 15 individual examples, understanding indicators and how to trade using indicators with 9 individual examples, candlestick analysis, risk management, other trading strategies, and so much more included in this course. So once again, if any of that sounds good to you, feel free to check it out in the first link in the description. And if you enjoyed this video or got something valuable out of it, please make sure to leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single single day. And before you click off, make sure you're checking out one of these uploads if you haven't already, because these videos just here can potentially help you make even more money in the crypto markets. And as always, I honestly do appreciate all of your support in the channel at the moment. I can't thank you guys enough. But anyway, that is it for this video. Once again, I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next video.